with me, if you can see me and hear me well, just give me a shout out. I will be most glad that because I could not see your face, right? So the only way that I can respond is through you responding to me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great, great. Wow, we have somebody from Philippines, is it? Great. All right, cool. All right, so today what I'm really going to go through, thank you so much for the response. I'm really glad. All right, so let me run through some administrative, right? So there's this chat function at the bottom that later on throughout the entire session, if there's anything that I ask you, do response, because the only way that you can learn in this masterclass regarding the cooling measures is by responding. Okay, and by responding, you remember some of the information and the data that I'm going to share with you. And also there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. That Q&A button is for you to ask any form of questions you have regarding market, regarding the cooling measures, or perhaps how we can help you in your property journey. All right, so there's these two buttons, very, very important. So I'm going to give you guys a lot of learning tips today, especially regarding the cooling measures. All right, so how many of you, when you wake up the next morning and you saw the news, will you be bombarded by a lot of messages? So if you are, so maybe you are a little bit more fortunate lah, or because I was up whole night. Okay, when I received the information about 11 plus p.m. is really a last minute thing again for cooling measures. I got bombarded with so many different messages, and I was like trying to get every single client that I've worked with, to let them know what is actually happening. And that is usually the time where we don't get to sleep lah, until maybe about 2 a.m. So how many of you actually stay up late during that day because of the cooling measures? Thank you so much. All right, we have Pauline, great. All right, we have Adam, thank you so much. Wow, so many of you. Dennis is here, Desmond is here. Great. We have Ivy, we have Jeb, we have James, Jane, Jason, Gina, Kim Siang. Correct. Okay, many of you guys are here. All right, so one of the way that I run my webinar, right, for you to actually learn is by responding, okay? So most of the webinars that you go to, you just listen in, you sit back, drink your coffee, that's it. But mine has a lot of interaction. So do use the chat function to respond to me and participate. Okay, I really want you guys to really participate in this. And first of all, I really want to acknowledge every single one of you for making time out here. And most importantly, you're on time. Okay, that's very important. All right, because you could be what? You could be having fun with your families. You could be, dining out. You could be doing your own works or just watching Netflix. But you are here. You are here because you want to learn something about the new cooling measures and what kind of impact it has on homeowners like you and me. Agree? All right, so in a short while, I'll be changing different screens, so just bear with me for a moment. So let us just kickstart this entire. Thank you so much, Don. Thank you so much for your response. Great. Give me a second. All right, can you guys see the screen? If you can see the screen, give me a shout out with a yes inside the chat. With a yes inside the chat, please. Thank you. If you can see the screen, give me a shout out with a yes. All right, so today we're going to really cover and deep dive into the April cooling measure situation and how it actually affects the market, and especially to us as homeowners or whether we are investors. And most importantly is later on, I will show you the data and the facts of what is actually happening. So a lot of times when a cooling measure is being announced, all of us are what? We stun. Okay, most of the time is we got stunned because why? We like another cooling measures. And then the next thing that we will immediately think about is, the market is no good. That's why they come out cooling measures. The market is going to come down already. That's why there's cooling measures. So there's this immediate reaction that we usually think about whenever there's a cooling measure, especially if today, if you're a buyer, you'll be like, oh, I think I should wait because now with cooling measures, prices are going to come down. How many of you are buyers here and you start thinking this way immediately? Just don't be shy, all right? This is a very safe environment. By us responding is just a way of acknowledging that we know something, all right? So if let's say today you are a buyer and you kind of wanting to make a decision a couple of days, but when this information slept down, you kind of like, maybe I should just take a step back and wait and see what is going to happen. How many of you have that kind of reaction? All right, don't be shy lah. There's nobody here to judge you lah, all right? A lot of us will be like, okay, let's wait and see and monitor it a little bit. So this is very common. And later on, I will share with you how many rounds have we actually went through this lah. Okay, so it's the same cycle again and again. And many of us, we already went through so many and we know what's going to be happening. And which is why I'm going to share with you with data and research that I've done later on. And also, if let's say today you're a seller, if you're a seller, will you be also affected by these measures? Wow, when the cooling measures step in, are you intending to still continue to sell your property? Or do you want to hold on a little bit and see how the market reacts? Because right now, you may want to hit a certain pricing, but because of these cooling measures, you're worried. Maybe the buyers who come in are not going to go up to the kind of pricing that you want. So these are all some of the questions that perhaps you have. And if you have any other form of questions that you want me to actually address, this is the best time for you to use the Q&A button to actually list down. Okay, but I just want to tease you guys a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to review, right, the list of properties that I have actually researched with my team for the most maximum growth in 2023. Okay, and only if every one of you stay back all the way to the end of the session, because the how to claim this bonus is only reviewed on the last slide. So this is so that you can continue and stay with us. Okay. All right, so do stay on, because I have a lot of information. I think as homeowners, we must be able to understand what is the impact of these cooling measures. Agree or not? So by only understanding it, and then with the knowledge that we have from today, you can make a better decision for your family on what is your next plan. All right, so this is what we are going to do for today. And of course, any data and research that we have done as a homeowner yourself, please do some due diligence. And I'm just going to, can I take maybe about 5 minutes for in case many of you who do not know me, I just want to spend maybe about 5 minutes to share with you a little bit of myself and what do I do that I can help you in your property journey. Can I have your permission for 5 minutes? If have, maybe you can share with us. Just type in yes inside. Just 5 minutes for me to share with you a little bit of who I am and why am I doing this. Thank you so much thank you Priscilla, thank you Pauline, thank you. We have Marvin here as well. We have Y, we have Vincent. Wow, many of you guys. Very good, very good. All right, so my name is Edmund and I'm the co-founder of Singapore Real Estate Insider. This is a community where a lot of business owners, professionals, workers, homeowners ourselves gather together so that we can make informed decisions regarding our property. And for us, we have been doing this business since 2009. So we have vast experience in terms of different markets and of course, different cooling measures as well. All right, so on our end, because we are not just practitioners, we are also homeowners ourselves and investors. So we are on the ground daily to understand what is happening in the property market, to advise you in better strategies to whether you are looking to upgrade yourself, or maybe you want to preserve your wealth through property, or perhaps to even build a legacy plan for your children in the years to come. We do all this to help our clients build better portfolios as well as make better decisions using property. So for me and my entire family, we grew up actually very, very normal. We are just from a very average family of 5. Me and my brothers, we were staying in a HDB 4-room unit. Okay, just a 4-room unit in Bedok. And of course, my dad being a business owner, very garang one last time, they say that it's the cowboy days, right? So my dad also does businesses and also went on to purchase quite a fair bit of properties. And we are quite fortunate. We are quite fortunate that we actually eventually able to move from a HDB to stay in a condo and even to a landed property. All right, so life was great. Life was very comfortable, but everything changed overnight in 2009. How many of you remember what happened in 2009? If you can remember what happened in 2009, type in the chat. If you can remember what happened in 2009. So during then, right, the entire economy was not good. There was a over leverage of a lot of things. So Singapore was not spared during that period, and there was a financial crisis. So my dad also was spinning through this way when business was not so good, economy was not so well, and property market was also coming down. So what happened was my dad has to sell off every single property that we have. And eventually, from all the properties that we have, from condos to landed, we eventually have to rent a 4-room HDB flat just to stay as a roof over our head. So it was a very difficult time during then as I was growing up, because you can imagine you used to have a lot of things, then overnight, everything, nothing. So it was tough growing up during that period, but I realized that I keep asking myself, how come my dad, being a savvy business owner, are able to make mistakes like this? How can he over leverage himself so much when he should be very savvy in terms of his finances and how he look at the market? But of course, during those days, data, information, knowledge are non-existent, almost non-existent. So a lot of times when we actually make decisions based on our gut feel, based on what our friends, relatives say or have done, and we just follow suit. How many of you agree? If you are talking about at least 10, 20 plus years ago, a lot of decision-making process was done using what other people have done or just based on your own feeling to decide, which is very, very dangerous, right? So that's why I realized that there is a problem. I saw when I was doing this business, I saw that there's a lot of problem regarding homeowners when we are making decisions. Technically, we are not even making any decision because we are basing on what we only know. What we only know, and perhaps the way that you know is 15 years ago, because that's the time when you last bought your first property or last bought a property, and you have been staying there for the last 15 years. And 15 years later, you use the same strategy 15 years ago today. Do you think it will work or not, my friends? Do you think that today, if I use a 15 years, 20 years ago strategy in today's marketplace, where the market is different, policy is different, prices is different, will the strategy still works today? You see? So I actually went on what we call it a spin through, right? To really want to understand more about property because of what happens to my family situation. So I spent a lot of courses, a lot of classes. I buy a lot of books, to understand what is happening. I go on to websites to find out, okay, how do we actually study into property? I was reading the newspapers. I went to online classes, offline classes, webinar. I attend lots of gurus, classes as well. And I spent a lot of money on this. And when I go through all this, right, I realized a lot of them are theory. They are theory based on the past. They are not applicable. They are not relevant in today's marketplace. Like today, when this cooling measure changes, can you use whatever that you think that you know 1 year ago in today's marketplace? Totally no. So as practitioners on the ground, right, we are able to adjust quick. And that's the reason why I do sessions like this, to empower you as a homeowner immediately so that you can know what you need to do in the long run. So many a times when I come back to property, right, I always base on these 5 strict principles. And I want every one of you to take out a pen and paper. I want you guys to write this down because this is the 5 key principles that has guided me, guided my clients to really successfully acquire properties in a very safe manner and eventually building their capital over the next 3 to 5 years safely. And I want you to write this down. These are the 5 key principles that is the fundamentals, is your foundation for property. Okay, your location, your supply and demand, your potential upsides, your risk, and your exit strategy. So these 5 key principles today, whether you are looking to buy or whether you are looking to sell or enter the market, you need to make sure that you have these 5 key fundamentals in your property before you even start doing anything. So when we were doing our advisories to clients, then we realized that, hey, there's actually a lot of different things that is missing out in the decision making. So I always find that, hey, there may be a better way. There may be a better way that we can actually do property safely without actually taking a lot of risk. How many of you want to be very, very safe in today's marketplace? One, type in safe, S-A-F-E. Type in safe inside the marketplace, all right? Because this is important. So that's why how many of you agree that today, right, you actually know where you are? You know where you are. Maybe you are owning on the HDB, perhaps you're owning on the condominium, and like, okay, I'm here, I'm very comfortable. But at the back of your mind, right, you do have some plans that you wanted to do. Perhaps you want to upgrade from a HDB to a condo, or perhaps today you want to go on to have a bigger space. You want to own a bigger space, or perhaps a change of location. Perhaps right now you're in the further away areas like Pasir Ris or Changi, and then you say that, I think I want to move nearer to town. You see, so many a times as homeowners, we know where we are, and we have kind of desires and plans for next. What's next? Okay. How many of you have plans like this, that today where you are right now, you kind of have like idea, okay, maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, I like to own something. I like to own another different type of location properties. How many of you have? If you have, type in 1 inside the chat. Type in 1 inside the chat. All right, I see many of you are still coming in, so I'm going to give you guys some time to settle down. All right, for those who have just joined in, do use the chat function to respond to my questions, because I cannot see you. So the only way that I can and see whether you understand me or not is by you responding. So help me out by responding to me so that I know that you're listening and you're learning and I'm going on the right track to give you value. All right, thank you so much. So we have many of you guys here. Well, do use the chat to respond. All right. So many of us, we know where to go from A to B. But many a times when you want to do it, you will ask two questions. What to do? And how to do. Agree? So for example, today you want to upgrade from yourself from a HDB to a private property. You want to. You really have the desire. It's like, well, I want to provide my family a better lifestyle. But then you do not know how to do. Hey, what should I buy? You see? So there's always a lot of all these questions. So my team's role and my role is to help you bridge this gap. There's always this gap, which is the knowledge gap and the understanding gap. Okay, so there are two gaps that a lot of homeowners are missing, which is the knowledge gap. I want you guys to write down knowledge gap and the market. You have the knowledge gap. What did I say? What did I say just now? Sorry. Okay, there's this actually knowledge gap. Okay, the way I see is the knowledge gap is the most important that a lot of people are actually facing. Why? Because without the understanding, okay, without understanding of what is happening right now, right, you will not be able to make a better decision. So our role, right, is to help you bridge this knowledge. Okay, is to bridge this knowledge. Okay, bridge this knowledge. When we bridge this knowledge, right, you will have the understanding of what is happening in the property market. And that's the reason why you are here today. You are here today because why? You want to learn about more about the cooling measures and how it has impacted you and how you can go around it and still emerge as champions for your property journey. And that's the reason why we came out the REI method to help you navigate yourself into this very noisy property world. How many of you agree that the property world is very, very noisy? Okay. And of course, whatever I'm sharing with you, right, it's not about just we do it for our clients or it's just theory based. It's not. Because we ourselves also adopt the same method, okay, to acquire properties, to actually grow and build our capitals in 6 figures safely over the years. So even like right now, one of our client, Davu, right, you know, he also was actually into the market and he also was very concerned about the economy, the high interest rate environment, the prices are quite high, you know, so he wanted to buy a private property, but because there's so much info out there, you know, and he did not know how to begin his search. That's why when he went on a one-on-one consultation with us, you know, he realized, all right, he realized that he gained actually deeper understanding of the knowledge and clarity of what is going to happen, most important, in the next couple of years of development of Singapore. So we're not here to just tell you, hey, you're going to do this, go and do that. You know, there must be an understanding, there must be an education and knowledge base so you can be upkeep yourself to make a better decision later. So of course, for Devu, of course, at the end of the day, he actually proceed to actually enter the market while all these things are going on, the economy, the high interest rate, inflation, etc., etc. But because he got the knowledge, he understands it well, and he paced himself to enter the market safely. That is very, very important. But I want to make a disclaimer. The REI method is not a get-rich-quick scheme. All right, so if today you are here and you're like, oh, Edmund, make me a millionaire tomorrow. Sorry, I can't do that. Okay, I cannot do that. Okay, why? Because property is still a very step-by-step process. Or even if you want to start off with something small, then you build it along the way to bigger properties. Okay, so that's very important. So there's definitely some risk involved. But then what we do is we want to minimize the risk as much as possible. And also, I'm not here to sell you any courses. So in case you're saying, hey, Edmund, are you going to sell me something later on? No, I'm not selling workshops. I'm not selling courses. Nothing for you to buy today. So I want you guys to sit back, participate by responding to the chat function so that we can actually learn this together. And I want to show you the data and the numbers regarding property that you must know very, very well. Okay. So of course, like for example, Melvin also attended our webinar before, and cases like this, you can see that you can understand that everything has to run through with data, okay, to make better decisions. Today, if you are letting go the data portion, you don't want to look at the numbers portion and the research, then you are going in blind. Okay, you are going into the market blind, you do not know what is happening, you just hearsays, and then you may not make a right decision. All right, so for our consultation, usually we charge $500 per session to just work with us on your property journey. All right, so that is why, because it requires a lot of time and effort to do this, to help our clients make the right decision and avoid losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right. All right. So because we have done over 728 sales and purchases, okay, because we have done so many and transacting actually already way above this value, we have done this over a decade. And because we learn from so many different families and clients, we understand, we study, we realize what works and what don't work. So our role is to follow the success models of what other clients have used to own multiple properties. While at the same time, I can share with you, we learn the most from those who make mistakes. From a lot of homeowners out there who make mistakes, we actually learn a lot from them so that we can avoid doing them. Does it make sense or not? So today we have a proven model because we see certain patterns. We saw certain patterns, certain trends that how come a certain group of homeowners, their property are always growing. And then we take those, we put it into our REI method, and then we take those that have made mistakes, and then we avoid those mistakes. Do you think your success rate is higher or lower, my friends? Type in higher or lower. Type in like higher or lower. Thank you. Yes, great. Thank you so much. Well, we have thank you. We have Joe. Yes, thank you so much for your response. Great. All right. So, of course, this is the biggest news of our ABSD cooling measures that came in. Okay, so this is the biggest news. All right. I'm not going to go into the numbers because all this you all read on the papers, you all will already know how many percentage. But the most significant impact is actually on the foreigners, the entities and trusts, as well as investors buying second and subsequent properties. And the reason we can see is that it's quite shocking with this entire overnight impact in terms of property. But I want to just draw you some trends and let you understand that today this cooling measure is not new. Okay, it's not new. Okay, so that is why even when they release it out, it's going to be very normal later on, and I'll explain to you why this is going to be the way. And even with you can see this is not the first time a cooling measures has happened. How many of you want to make a guess? How many years have cooling measures been coming into the Singapore property market already? How many of you can guess how many years already? Just put in the number inside the chat. Put in the number. Right. So you can see, right, every single time when there's a cooling measures, right? When there's a cooling measure, you can see that there are definitely some price adjustments, okay? But overall, do you see that the prices are on an upward trend? So these are all the cooling measures, right? These are all the cooling measures, right? But you can see that the prices are still on an upward trend. So whatever the government do, right, with the cooling measures, the prices are still going up. How many of you got think before that, hey, how come after cooling measures, but yet the prices still going up? Is there something that you are missing out on? And for you, even this, right? Even with these cooling measures, I want to be very transparent here with my own opinion and whatever I see in the past from data and trends, right? I do not see the prices coming down. Yes, you hear from me. I do not see the prices coming down. And later on, I'll explain to you all more. But on the contrast, right, the prices will continue to go up. And I'll tell you later from my research. Okay, everything very transparent. I want to use data to show you. I do not see the private market go down this year, definitely. And next year, perhaps they will continue to even go up until the end of this year. That is what I see. And I want to share with you some of the reasons why. So you must stay on. If you know that any of your close ones, friends, colleagues may take this information and it's very useful for them, you can invite them in now, right now. Just send them the message that you gotten or the email so that you can invite them in to join us. So the question is, why is the government coming out with these cooling measures at this kind of time? So the government is also wondering, right? Hey, how come I add in so many cooling measures, but prices eventually still go up? You see, why? Because the first quarter information, right, already came out, right? First quarter already 3.3%. It went up one quarter 3.3%. So of course, previous a couple of months ago, we projected about 3.2%. That is the growth. And while this quarter, even with the holidays going on, Chinese New Year, the percentage in terms of your price index is still very high. So we are all wondering, okay, is this sustainable? The government is also thinking, is a 3.3% sustainable? So let us go into the details. So you can see, right, in the past, right, 2021, it went on the whole entire year, 10.6%. the entire 2022 went up 8.6%. But now we are already at 3.3%. So can you realize, can you understand why? If left unchecked, what will happen? What will happen? Could it be another double-digit growth if, let's say, left unchecked? That is why the government also sees the numbers. And that's why when they saw that the first quarter is at 3.3%, they come in with the ruling immediately. All right. And this is usually what happens when the government feels that the prices is a little bit, unchecked. They want to what? Suppress it down a little bit. But remember, the government is not here to crash the market. The government is just trying to what? Maintain it gradually so that the property prices can be sustainable. So future homeowners are still able to buy the property. Does it make sense or not? You see, because right now, if let's say, if left unchecked, just over the last 3 years, total almost 30% went up. Is this sustainable or not, my friends? Can you see this? Is this sustainable? So there are key concerns as far as why the cooling measures comes in. And if we break it out into even deeper, right, you can see that the general different segments in terms of properties, how much do they grow in general? And that is what hits the government to say that, hey, I want to really do something before it goes out of hand. So even Desmond Lee also highlighted, right, is to preempt what? Is to preempt, dampen the property investment demand. And the government, do you agree that they will not do things if they do not have a bigger picture? They will not last minute just do this for the sake of doing it. There must be something that they saw, and that's the reason why. And very, very far is, of course, the interest from foreigners has risen. And that is the reason why the ABSD of the cooling measures hits who the hardest. Does it hit Singaporeans or PR or foreigners? Which one does it hit the hardest? Okay, from the news, you can see it very clearly. So a lot of times when news like this came out, then the entire Singapore being thinking like, wow, it's going to impact me. But let's see the fine print. Okay, because they also realized that when the price index went up 3.3%, because there's a robust local demand, okay, and also foreign investors' interest. So the government is trying to what? Just to maintain it so that it has a gradual growth over the years. Very, very important. Okay, very important. Okay, so this is what Desmond says. Because Singapore, right, is a very safe haven for a lot of investments to come in. They set up family offices here. So it will continue to be strong. But if left unchecked, right, then Singaporeans and us like ourselves, we cannot buy property there. All right, which happens before, right? A lot of people complain because why the prices went up too high, cannot buy property. So the government also learn from their past experiences and what? Do adjustments. Also, usually a lot of all these cooling measures do not impact the Singaporeans and PR so much. All right, but the investment portion, the foreigners, the companies, the trust entities, they are the most impacted. That's why, because Singapore and PR first probably not affected. Why? Why is it not affected? Because we all need a roof over our head, you see. So why the interest rate hikes for foreigners? You see. So you must understand, right now, based on the understanding for the data, later on we will share with you more information and how many actually take up as a Singaporean and PR, how many of them take up second or even third property. Okay, so there we have data later, we will show you, how many actually does that. And let's understand this logically, okay. So you can see here, right, about 10% of all private residential property transactions are those that buy second and subsequent property. That means only about 10% paid ABSD to buy their second or even third property. So I want you guys to really have this mindset, right? Let's say today, right, out of the 90% who has very strong appetite, they have very strong stability, and their desire to buy, they have a very secure job, income is very comfortable, and they're willing to pay 2001, 2002 prices for new launches. And by hitting the hammer on this other 10%, okay, the hammer comes in on this 10%. Okay, because they are the one who bought foreign properties, they are the one who bought second or third property, you come in the ABSD. Will the impact on the 10% affect the 90%, my friends? I want you all to acknowledge and really respond and ask yourself this very real question. Will the impact on the 10% affect the 90%? Or the 10% or the 90% basically is just an end bite. Will there be an impact definitely I can ask you, there will be definitely some implication on this, because any cooling measures will have a direct impact in the next 1 to 2 months, because everybody now wait and see or want to monitor a little bit. But the question I like to ask every one of you here is, right, let me just do this. Let me ask you this. How many? Okay, can you all see the poll? All right, I want you guys to answer your poll. How many cooling measures have you went through since 2000? All right, one. Let's see the entire group's answers. All right, use the poll to see how many cooling measures have you seen. So we have, well, some people will say lost count. Well, actually, a lot of you lost count. Really, a lot, right? A lot of cooling measures, right? You see, but can you imagine you lost count the cooling measures until you don't want to know already, right? But yet, what happened to prices? Prices still continue. So most of us, we have seen most 3 to 4. Wow, the rest really lost count. I don't want to count already, right? How many cooling measures? Yes, it's correct. Okay, it's very important, you see. So the key thing is that today, with the cooling measures coming in, we must understand what is the impact. Is it going to impact the 10% more, or impact the 90% who still have a very stable income? They still have a need to buy property. They are still buying their first property. And whether the ABSD will have a direct impact on the 90%. Later on, we will study a little bit more. Okay, we will study a little bit more. But I always understand, whenever there's a measure, there will always be a knee-jerk reaction. What do I mean by this? Because everybody wants to study and understand what's the outcome with the measures. How will it impact? Will the prices come down? So let me share with you a story of myself when back in the past, back in 2013, right? Me and my brother, we wanted to buy another second property, okay, during 2012, around that period. So it's the same thing back in then. There was no such thing as ABSD, you see. So then when 2013 came, they come in with the 7% ABSD, right? Wow, guess what me and my brother do? Do we continue or do we stop? Don't want to buy already. I tell you, we also function the same way as every homeowners lah. We also stop lah. Paying 7%, so much money. Why you let government earn? A lot of all these things went through a consumer mind, and it could happen the same way as you. But what happened later? After a few months, we monitor the market. I study the market. I told my brother, hey, I don't think the government is going to remove this. So if we don't do anything now, we may not even have a chance to own another property. So we went through a lot of data. My brother is a banker. I'm the property guy. That's why we are able to actually, pull out a lot of data and try to kind of understand what is happening with the cooling measures. And then we both have the same outcome after our research, is that the cooling measures are there is not to handicap anyone to buy properties, but is to ensure that the prices are sustainable in the long run, which is what we are seeing now. Can you imagine, without all the various cooling measures in place, right? How much do you think our per square foot in town will be like? I can tell you, it can easily go up to 6,000. And our mass market now is already crossing 2,000. It will be easily 3,000 if there is no cooling measures in check. How many of you will agree with this? Agree with this, type in agree. All right. And that is the real truth. So after me and my brother, when we discussed, right, we asked ourselves, 7%, still go lah. So we end up, after I think about 1 year plus later, we went back in to pay the ABSD of 7%. And by then, there could be more properties that we could buy, because 1 year ago and a year later, the supply will also be taken out, right? So there are better units that we missed out during that 1 year because of our inability to understand what is happening. So that is a very big lesson that we learn, that we have to always be updated with the market and be able to actually see it in the long run, how all these cooling measures is going to impact us. So after 1 year, we went on to purchase a freehold property at 7% ABSD. So what happens after that, after 2013? The ABSD increases, right? 7% to 12%, 12% to 17%, and now 20%. So now I look back, would I laugh at them that, hey, actually we buy earlier, or will you dare to do it now or not? Even now, if you ask me to do it, there's not everybody can, but it still makes sense to pay the ABSD if you ask me. All right, it still makes sense, but of course we have to calculate it properly, not anyhow. Okay, so but during then when 7%, we already feel the pinch. Okay, how many of you have thought about getting a second property, but because of ABSD, you kind of tarik, stop, don't want to take? Okay, so this is something that I want to share with you. Because of the long-term view of properties, you must understand. You must always understand the long-term view of property. By having this additional buyer stamp duty, does it make sense for you? Okay, and there are very little leeway for prices to come down at the moment. I can assure you. Why do I say so? Later on, we will study a little bit more later, especially when developers already lock in their land costs, their construction costs are getting higher, and all the other costs. Okay, so one key thing that you must understand is that this is one of the particular reason why government starts to come in hard on the foreigners. Okay, it's not so much on the Singaporeans and the PRs, because you can see that there's a sudden spike. Sudden spike in terms of the percentage of foreigners. Okay, now first quarter already 11%. Can you imagine after the entire 2023, right? How much will these numbers go up if they do not make sure that they do something about this? Can you imagine? All right. So that's why when the government come in to curb cooling measures is to ensure, hey, the foreign buyers don't anyhow come in and push up the prices lah. You know, so this is very common. So the only thing the government is doing is to what? To protect the interests of Singaporeans and PR. Very straightforward. And they slapped in with a 60%, even no matter how much money you have. How many of you agree? You also will think twice. 30%, okay, never mind, can. But 60%, that's double immediately. And when they come in, they really come in hard and fast. Fast and furious, right? Very hard and fast and furious. But the question you must ask yourself, my friends, is does this impact you as a Singaporean and as a PR? Later on, we will see some numbers. All right, so you can see the numbers gradually already increase. All right, so the whole entire year, right, is only 7.1% back in 2022. But because things open up, COVID starts recovering, traveling is open. So suddenly in just one quarter, 9.8%. That is why the government come in to slap the numbers for foreigners, you see. And most of the foreign buyers, of course, their interests are always on the CCR. Okay, so if today you own a property in the mass market or in city fringe, no need to worry so much about what is going to happen, because most of the impact will still be in CCR, where periodically the buyers, the investors are foreign buyers. Okay, but yet at the same time, I want to draw your attention. Later on, I will show you actually when we see that a lot of foreigners are coming in, a lot of foreigners are buying properties, it may not be true. Okay, so later on, I'll share with you. So you can see that CCR from this period, right? The number of years of the number of foreigners usually buy properties are usually still in the CCR period. Okay, we do have some over, of course, in the RCR and OCR, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Okay, very little. You can see the latest, but they are buying. But definitely they are buying. So now you see the numbers. You say, wow, Edmund, the foreigners are coming to take our homeland already. Okay, so but later on, I'll show you the overall numbers. Then you'll be seeing. So the concern will be on CCR, because that's where the investment heaven is, man. Okay, but recent years we are also seeing more Singaporean and PR buying property here. Okay, that means locals are also buying properties in CCR. So why is this happening? Because why? Because we become more affluent, our income gets better, we have become more knowledgeable, our income increases, our earning power also more stable, and most importantly is we have better knowledge with all the access of information online. So a lot of Singaporeans and PR, they start seeing property as a different ball game, and a lot of them went into the CCR market to secure. Can you imagine? Because today as a Singaporean, you're paying 0%. A PR, you're paying 5%. Versus a foreigner next time when they pay, previously they already paid 30%. So am I right to say that if let's say you go into the CCR game, right, you are technically already buying 30% lower than most of the foreigners. So you have an advantage when you sell next time. Okay, so of course, all these are what we do during our consultations to help our clients, position their funds well to buy the right property using research and data. Okay, and Singaporeans majority, you can see still are Singaporeans in terms of the numbers. Okay, so the foreigners are actually very little as compared. Very little. You see the numbers. Ayo, 1,000, last year was this, and then now this quarter is about 300. But periodically, it's still under Singaporeans and PR buying property. So don't have a blanket statement to say that, wow, the foreigners, a lot coming in. It's not a lot, my friend, when you do a comparison. Because there's still almost about 17, 18,000 of Singaporeans at PR who are actually absorbing the supply in the marketplace. Okay, so this is something that you must understand, because with the data and the research, then you can make a better decision on how you want to execute for your property plans, you see. And if we look at, we dive in a little bit more deeper, okay? Let's look at across the number of years, okay? We don't just look at 2 years, we look at the entire year for the last 10 years or so, you see. You can see Singaporeans and PR still majority takes up the percentage of the supply, which is why our Singapore market is very stable. Our market does not need foreigners to come in to increase our supply demand. No need. Singaporeans and PR ourselves can sustain the market already. And basically, we are all playing merry-go-round. You sell to me, I buy from you, you know, that kind of manner. And that's why Singapore property prices are always very stable in that sense. But if you look at overseas, okay, other places, a lot of the countries, they need foreign investors to come in to buy properties. And their foreign numbers are actually very, very high in comparison to their locals. So if anything happens in the entire world, from economy or even COVID situation, the foreigners don't come in and buy, their entire market tanks. But what happened to Singapore? Even with COVID, do you see our prices coming down like other countries? We don't. Why? Because we are still holding almost 90% of home ownership are Singaporeans and PR. That is why it's very, very important for you to understand that today, with the new cooling measures, the impact, is it on the foreigners, or will it also impact the Singaporeans and PR? So let us study a little bit. This is all for the new launch and the resales. Okay, so let us break it down. That's why we are able to do research, right? Now let's look into OCR. OCR is the mass market. Mass market, you can see the numbers are even higher, more than 98%, 97%. So today, if you own a property in a mass market and you think that, wow, you want to buy a mass market property, you know, you do not need to actually think, wow, now with this cooling measure, prices will drop. Not necessary, because the seller's not affected, you know, because they are just selling to PR and Singaporeans, You see, those who are first-timer, they buy also no tax, you see. So the impact is very, very minimum. And what about the city fringe, RCR? The numbers are also very healthy. None of them cross even lower than 90%. None of them. So the same question again, if today the hammer goes onto the 10%, the foreigners, will the 90% feel an end bite maybe? Or will they also be suffering? So this is something that you must always understand. And my role is to facilitate this entire process, to provide you the data and the numbers so that you can understand better to make a better decision. Okay, what about the CCR? CCR, even so, is also not as crazy as we seem. The number of Singaporeans and PR buying CCR are still very high, close to 90%. So the foreigners affecting the prices, I tell you, is very little, man. It's very, very little. That's why you will have to study this in depth and not just look at the headlines. ABSD cooling measures going to impact the property market. Then everybody fearful. Or this is time that you need to stay calm and adopt the RAI method in your research, in your study, to know what you want to do, to sell or to buy or to invest. Okay, that's why the data is very important. And the reason why we are able to pull out all this data, because these are to help our clients and ourselves to make a better decision, you see. So the question is, actually, are there people buying more than 10 million? Because there's news, right, that says that, wow, today all the foreigners are buying the huge bungalows, GCBs. But my friend, actually, Singaporean and PR actually takes up 63% and 64%, those who buy 10 million and above. Actually, Singaporeans and PR also got money one. Not only foreigners. You know, we make up 63% of buyers. You see, that is buying more than 10 million. So the key thing that we must understand is today, if we have the money, will you also go and buy Singapore property? See, so this is what we mean. And if I further develop into CCR properties, the numbers are still very high numbers for Singaporeans and PR. So the impact of the ABSD on the foreigners, will it have any impact on Singaporeans and PR? Very, very minimum. Okay, very minimum. All right, so I want to do a quick poll, right? I want to ask every one of you here. Let me see. Give me a second. Okay. So for the cooling measures, right? Want to make a guess. Now that I show you, foreigners are also buying property, PR and Singaporeans lah. Okay, but which number two's nationality? The number two, don't say number one. Number one, every one of us we know lah. Okay, number one, all of us we know is China. Okay, but which second nationality bought the most property in 2023 and pay 30% ABSD? Come, make a guess. Make a guess. This one very, very interesting. Yes, that's why I want to provide you all this data. Okay, because without the data, without access, right? I can tell you as a homeowner, everything the papers write, you scared, right? Or every time you see social media, like the world is on doom, but actually I tell you there's so much opportunity. And that's also the reason why a lot of our clients who follow through us, right? They are able to build their capital very, very quickly and preserve their wealth very fast for their retirement. All right, come, make a guess. The number two nationality, we all know number one is China. This one no need to guess. That one is easy. What about the second one? The second nationality who bought properties in 2023 and still need to pay ABSD. So you see, so many of you think that is Indonesia, India, Malaysia. Hey, nobody choose Thailand, Taiwan or USA, huh? Taiwanese. Okay, great. Okay, let us stop this and let's just continue. Okay, so take a look. The top 20 nationalities of foreign buyers. Number one, of course, we know is China. Okay, they pay 30%. Okay, but what about, can you see the second one? USA. Okay, they are foreigners, but why are they buying? Why are they buying? And the third one, we have Indonesia. All right, so some of you who guessed Indonesia, right? Malaysia, Hong Kong. So how come do you see a shocking of USA? How many of you are shocked by USA? How come US citizens are actually buying properties? Of course, when we say citizens, they can be from Taiwanese, they could be Hongki, it can be Malaysians, it could be any different countries, but they are citizen as a US citizen. Okay, why is this so? Because what the government has done is, I'm introducing you Sulin. Okay, no, it's not a girlfriend, don't worry. Okay, because these 5 countries are exempted from ABSD. While other people need to pay 30%, these 5 countries, when they buy any properties in Singapore, they don't need to pay tax. They buy just like a Singaporean. How many of you, this is the first time that you hear about this? The first time, type in 1 inside the chat. Don't be shy. I'm not here to judge whether you know or not. I just want to understand whether does this information come to play, you see. So that is the reason why also over the couple of years, right, we have a lot of US citizens. We have US citizens who are origin from China, from what do you call it? Hong Kong, from Thailand, Malaysia, but they're US citizens, all right? Even Singaporeans who are US citizens still, right? So that's why this is a very unique arrangement that today, some part of the viewing of our property is also by some of them. But of course, the rest of the countries, not much, but USA a lot. Okay, I myself already transacted quite a fair bit from US citizens because it's a no-brainer. For me, I can buy in Singapore, I pay no tax, and the stability and the currency exchange is to my favor. Why not? How many of you now got US citizens, friends, you better tell them this information and look for me. Because this is to help them acquire a property in Singapore and then just let them keep for 10 years, right? They can cash out from it anytime. So this is a window of opportunity. Of course, when will the government close up this one? I also wouldn't know. But right now, take note of this situation that US citizens, or anyway, those who fall under this 5, they do not need to pay ABSD. And this is also very crucial. Why? Because the Americans who are not subjected to ABSD are also on the rise. You can see the numbers are rising. So do you think the ABSD of these cooling measures, will it affect the US citizens or not? All right, so I project these prices will also go up. The numbers will go up because they are not affected. And the more they will look at this and they want to buy. See, let me show you from a numbers perspective, the nationality, the numbers, okay, from a nationality perspective. Of course, some of them are non-PR and PR. You can see the China still leads the way, but a lot of them are PR already. How much does PR need to pay for their first property? How many needs? How many percent? Can you guess? So for PR, right, 5%. So today, right, let me ask you, if let's say today you are a foreigner, you need to pay 60%. But the PR pays 5%. What will you do? Let me ask you, what will you do? You want to pay 60 or you want to pay 5? Okay, so I tell you, this is also one of the strategy. Okay, later I'll share with you from a population perspective, then you know already. Okay, why? Because today, first of all, are we increasing our population as what we want based on just local Singaporeans? We are not, ma. They want very clear. We are not having enough babies to provide for the population. All right. So we're not giving birth fast enough, yet our aging population is increasing year after year. So one of the way for government to actually achieve this is what? Conversion of nationality from foreigners to PR, PR to Singaporeans. That is also another way to sustain our entire economy well. See, because of the situation that we are not giving birth fast enough. So how many of you can remember what's the target population that we're trying to achieve? Can you remember back in 2012 when government announced this is our plan? In 2030, this is our target for our population. Okay, if you can remember, that means you are very, very into the market. Okay, let me give you the number. We are aiming by 2030 to have 6.9 million population. Okay, 6.9 million. This is back in 2012, the entire concept plan for the next 30, 50 years of what Singapore needs to sustain our position as a financial hub, to stay competitive, is 6.9 million. The question is today, 2023, how many people are there in population? Let me show you. As of now, 5.64. But we are on a year-to-year growth about 3.4%. If you use your calculator to go and count, if every year we stay on track, about 3.4%, if we stay on track, you can use your calculator to count. It will take us 6 times to hit 6.9 million. 6 years, sorry, not 6 times, 6 years to hit 6.9 million, which means we are already on track, my friend. We are on track towards this 6.9 million. So bear with it. Today, if we know that the population is going to increase this way, and the foreigners are having this kind of situation where 60% don't make sense, will they convert also to PR or even Singaporean faster to go in line with the population? How many of you find that this is useful? Type in learn inside. Are you learning something? Type in learn inside the chat. And I should see every one of you typing learn. Those who are here but you never type in learn, then I don't know whether are you actually learning something or not. Type in learn. I should see many. Give me some encouragement. It's very tiring one. Do this. I spent yesterday doing all the slides until 3 a.m. You see, thank you. Wow, I see all this. I feel good. I feel good. Thank you. Right. So we are actually on track to 6.9 million. And that the government needs to achieve this 6.9 million for many, many different reasons. For our economy, for our financial status, to stay competitive, across the different countries. So with this, right, the only way that we can do is what? To do conversions. And the quicker that we can do the conversions, it will also incentivize them to do a conversion into PR, right? Or even Singaporeans, because now for property, I don't want to pay the 60%. I pay 5%. Okay, never mind. It's okay, 5%. So the monetary comes in place. You see, so this is a very, very big situation. Very big situation. So for those who are young enough, you don't know that ABSD actually, this is not the first time ABSD has been done, right? So actually since 2011, already ABSD has been introduced and keep revising until today. So the question I want to ask every one of you here, we all hope all these things will be removed, cooling measures removed, right? But can you ask yourself, out of all the cooling measures, you also lost touch, you also lost count already, right? Did they ever reduce cooling measures? Okay, and for this instance, did they ever reduce any percentage of ABSD? Ask yourself, have or not? Have or don't have? Okay, why? Because today everything keep going up and it can only increase, cannot come down. Why is that happening? Because if they reduce, everybody jump in to buy already. Agree or not? How many of you agree that if let's say today they just remove ABSD of certain part, a lot of people will start rushing into buying property. And this will happen. Right? That's why when we see that for this instance, it is a very calibrated ruling cooling measures that came in. But at the same time, is everybody being affected? No. That's why there are only two sets of winners and losers. Okay, so you will see this and you will see whether are you fitting into the winners or are you fitting into the losers. Okay. All right. So there are two groups. Of course, the winners, the first group, your first timer, no impact. Okay, no issue. Even you are a PR and Singaporean, no impact because it's very minimum. And for the longest time, right? Let me just go back to a slide. Let me share with you the one thing that never changed. Okay, is this. Can you see? So today, my friends, if you are PR, you have friends who are PR, colleagues who are PR, please get them to speak to me so that they can understand that today they are still paying only 5%. In future, if they increase, everything cannot increase already. Will they increase PR 5%? I can tell you they will. Because 5% and 60%, they can still increase that 5% to 10%, 10% to 15%. Still possible, and it's still cheaper than paying 60% ABSD. So my friends, today you have a window opportunity for 5% to enter the market. You better grab. Don't lose out. Okay, this 5% is marginable. Can one. And of course, as a Singaporean, you pay nothing, and today you are still thinking, oh, should I buy one more property? Should I get my wife to buy? Also same. If you don't take the opportunity right now, in future, will they also tax on Singapore? I don't know. But looking at the trend, if they cannot tax any other place, they cannot increase already. They will go to those that has never been done before. Straightforward, right? So who are the winners and the losers? So Singaporeans PR buying your first property definitely is your buying of a roof over your head. That's why the government always mention, hey, you need to do this. Go for your buying your needs and wants. You must. Okay. So today also the winners, developers with mass market projects. Why? Because today the mass market we're talking about, the OCR, RCR, they are not affected because generally they are being purchased by PR and Singaporeans. So their sales volume will still continue to be very, very good. That one, no issue. So if today you're thinking, because of these developers are going to reduce price, not necessary, because the areas are periodically still purchased by Singaporeans and PR. Okay, commercial property landlords and owners also no issue. All right, no impact. But of course, those who impact are really the foreigners and investors. Okay, today if you're setting up trust institutions to buy properties also, and today if you are having a developer with luxury property, ultra lux one also quite will be worried okay, because they are usually purchased by the high net worth or the foreigners, and now with the extra 60%, to them, to be honest, for ultra lux, ultra high net worth, extra 60% is really not a lot. Still not a lot. They rather have the stability and own something in Singapore. So if you ask me, will they continue to pay with this 60%? I tell you, I think I will see more of them coming in. May not be as much as before, but those who can still see the functionality of Singapore, the stability of Singapore, will still continue to come in. Okay. And of course, those who are in the en bloc residential in CCR, all right, developers will definitely slow down because it may not make sense for them to actually go on to this. So I just want to quickly run through a very quick numbers, right? Just to let you see the impact. If let's say today you're buying a $2 million condo, right? If let's say you are a first timer, what's the impact? No change. Okay. And if you're buying as a second property with this, you need to pay for 60,000 more. Third property, 100,000 more. For PR, no change. If you're buying a second property, it's only 100,000 difference, 100,000 difference. Okay, for foreigners, of course, the jump is quite a lot, or 600,000 just for $2 million property. Okay, so I also want to quickly just give you guys a quick overview about HDB market. All right, so if today you are owning a HDB market, today, my friends, your property is already at the peak and higher than the last peak. Okay, your property price is the highest peak. You have never seen this before. All right, so the question is, what will happen when they peak? And being a HDB, which is supposed to be affordable housing, what will the next wave comes? And I will share with you a little bit more in details later. All right, let's just look at the volume as well. All right, so the volume in 2021, it went up to 31,000 in terms of volume. The volume came down a little bit in 2022, and now we are on track to about 6,000. So 6,000. So if you are talking about, the volume is always more or less there for HDBs. All right, just to give you a side. Later on, I'll share with you a little bit more details. But I want to share with you, everyone here. Are you guys still with me? If you guys still with me, just type in 1 so that I know that you're awake. You're not bored. Thank you so much. All right, we have Mushan, we have Jolene, we have Goki, we have Paul, we have Annie. Thank you. We have Caleb, we have Priscilla, Adeline. Thank you, Peggy. Wow, great. All right. So I can share with you one thing, because we have gone through all these cooling measures, we have gone through all these up and downs. We are back, my friend. We are back in 2018 and 2019. How many of you can remember what happened in 2018 and 2019? Type inside the chat. If you can remember, don't worry. All right, because most of the time when we are homeowners, right, we only remember when we start doing things, or when you're selling or buying. But other than that, right, you never even monitor the property market, right? So you don't know what is happening. So it's okay if you don't know. It's okay to be truthful if you don't know. All right, doesn't matter. Thank you so much. All right, so 2018, what happens? Cooling measures. Okay, cooling measures. Then what happened in 2019? Okay, interest rate high. Okay, I can remember why, because we do this business run, right? So we are on the ground every single time. So it was about 3.2%, being the highest. Then everybody, wow, cooling measure come in, high interest rate, or high price, then everybody's scared. Okay, so I tell you, we are back. We are basically back to 2018 and 2019. So it's like, how many of you, if today got a chance to go back in time, you go back in time? Now we go back in time. Now I show you that now going back in time got a lot of opportunities. Okay, it's up to you whether you want to take action or not. I want to just give you a showcase of what happened during then in 2018, 2019. So during then, actually, prices was actually the highest. It was highest than the last peak on 2013. It was highest at the last peak of 2009. And of course, the rest beyond the one too long ago, we don't talk. All right, so actually, prices is at the peak in 2018. Okay, we don't say about future. We talk about, if let's say today you are back in 2018, this is where you are now. And that is the reason why, you see, the price index went up 7.9%. It has never done before. Okay, so during then, if I ask you to buy property, will you dare to buy? Price is very high, cannot buy. You see, and during that time, 2018, it was not the best of economy. Why do I say so? Because the trade wars was going on. Okay, the trade wars was going on between China and US, and the inflation, the economy of Singapore was not very good. You can see it came down. It came down quite a fair bit because of the trade war. No, we can't do anything. So the market was actually not very, it was quite volatile, if you ask me. And not only that, third impact. Okay, third impact. What is this? Okay, the interest rates. You can see, if you compare, it's the highest. It was highest interest rates. That's why it was about at least 3.2%. Right? If I remember about when the cooling measures came in 2019. Then the inflation, inflation was also all-time high during then. And this is all back in 2018, my friend. Okay, if you don't know about the history, I show you the history. Inflation was the highest. But while all these things are going on, the government also coming cooling measures. Wow, I still remember that day, 2018 cooling measures. Everybody was queuing up for last minute because of all these adjustments. That's why now government smart. They don't give you reaction time. They will launch it at 11:30 or 11:55. Then cross midnight, everything starts off. So that's why it becomes harder and harder to actually work around all these things to go away, to go around the cooling measures and everything . So the question is, I want to ask every one of you is, why would the government do all these things when the prices is high, interest rate is high, economy no good, inflation is high, and then they come in with cooling measures some more? They want us to what? Cannot breathe. You see, that's not the intention. So now you look back now. Are we having the same situation? Are all this very familiar? Are all this very familiar to you now? Right now, we are actually experiencing the same thing. Exactly the same thing. So if today you have bought a property in 2018, okay, how many of you, if let's say today you go back in time, will you buy property? Looking what is happening now, will you buy? Now that you know what's going to happen, of course you buy, but nobody knows the future, right? All right. Because if you don't know the future, likely you will say that, price high, interest high, wow, cannot, I'm very scared, don't buy. You see? So the key thing is that our clients who took our advice during 2018 and 2019, they laughed to the bank, very happy, make profits. Okay, I know some of you are here also. Okay, you are very glad that you actually took the move. when you follow us, when we show you the data, when we guide you through the numbers, you buy the property, and then now you're achieving very good capital appreciation to build your capital. That's why, my friends, any situation out there, there are always window opportunity. The question is, can you see the opportunity? But because you are as a homeowner, you do not dive into the data and the numbers, you do not see it well as what we do. I can share with you, every crisis will have an opportunity, right? When there's high interest rate, when this kind of situation, when there's a cooling measure slap, I tell you, that's where the opportunity comes. Because everybody, do you agree? Even you yourself right now, maybe you'll be thinking, wow, cooling measures come in, wow, very scared. I think better don't do anything. High interest rate, wow, cannot. Economy not good, better don't do. And it's very common, my friends. You are not the only one. Because you lack the knowledge, you lack the understanding and the data to help you make a better decision. That's why you need to what? Look at research, man. You need to look at numbers. Numbers don't lie, you see. So we ask ourselves, how can the 10+%, because of these cooling measures, will it actually affect the 80+, 90+% badly? Will it affect them? Or it's just a minor brush off? Certain sectors, definitely yes, when there are huge foreigners involved. But generally, Singaporeans and PR still take on about more than 90% of the home ownership. So, but in general, the market for the OCR, the RCR, actually, they're not going to be much affected. That's why your first mover advantage is very, very important. Very important. So let me ask everyone, will price drop? If let's say today, you ask yourself, will price drop, right? Actually, who will have an upper hand? The resale owner, type in A, or the developers will have an upper hand with these cooling measures? Who will have a upper hand? Okay, you must understand, most resale homeowners, you only own one property. Correct. Developer, developer own multiple properties. So who will have an urgency to sell? A or B? Type in your answers, A or B. Right? Developers definitely have more urgency to sell, because today, if you own a property now, you want to sell, you can say that, hey, actually, I no need to sell, you see. But you must understand, today is not like a 2008 financial crisis. It's not a 1997 global financial crisis. It's not like all these cooling measures is self-inflated. We implement ourselves to what? Manage our stability in terms of prices. That's why there's no stress for the homeowners to sell property. No stress. I can say I don't sell, doesn't matter. But developers different. Developers are being tied down with certain guidelines. They need to sell off everything in 5 years, depending on where you are. You see. Then, the question is, where is the opportunity that you can go for? Of course, if you are saying that, wow, like that, I go and buy developers, I can ask for a huge discount. I tell you, unlikely also. Okay, why? Because they already have bought the land at a certain cost. They have their construction cost, everything factored in, and then they still have to make some margins, correct? But the question is, will they be more sensitive in their pricing now, not to increase like last time? Last time, maybe they can make about 30 to 40% profits. Right now, because of all these cooling measures, and they still have inventory, they need to sell it out. Will they be more careful in not increasing? They will still increase because they still need to what? Dollar averaging to make sure their property are still making some profits, right? But will they crazily increase their prices? So my friends, this is your advantage. Don't expect them to come out, wow, 40% discount, all this. We must understand now, there's always raw costs involved. Cannot sell lower than the raw cost one. So please wake up and let's do a reality check. The earlier and quicker that we can do a reality check to ourselves and we accept the reality, I can tell you, the faster you can make a decision for your property. And that's how our clients do it, because they have the access to the data and understanding and knowledge to make better decisions. See? So today, right, I say today, like right now, the cooling measures come in. Of course, you'll be like, okay, now I need to be careful. Just think yourself as a developer right now. Okay, now cooling measures come in. I wanted to increase 20%. Okay, now cannot. I better adjust a little bit so that I can still move my units. Agree? All right, they still have their own quota one. So with these cooling measures, is it helping you as a buyer, as an investor? So can you imagine if, let's say, the market is super good? If you are a developer, when you see the market so positive, right, will you increase your prices even higher? Or you just sit back, no need to sell so high. Just give more discount. You won't. Because remember, developers are also business owners. Developers are business owners. They also want to make money. They also are like you as a homeowner, want to make money from the property. Same thing. All right. But I can assure you with this cooling measure slab, they will be very careful not to increase as much as what they wanted. They will definitely do some corrections. And this correction is an opportunity for you. That's why in 2018, right, when the cooling measures came in, right, Cindior only sell 150 units at Whistler Grand. During the launch, out of 716 units, they only sold this much. Okay, but then what happens after that? This is the average price they bought in 2018. So 2018 was a cooling measures, but people still buy 1,002 plus per square foot. You can see. Okay, 2018. Then what happened? The developer prices continue to inch up, but not a lot because the market was still very, unstable, but they inch up slowly up to 1,008 plus. Can you see? Slowly inch up. And the amount of profits they made, my friend, they bought it at what? When the market was unfavorable. High price, high interest, cooling measures, all these things going on. But they went on because study data. Very important. So I show you another property. So then during 2018, the cooling measures came in again. That's where Florence Residences launched only 54 sales during the launch weekend. Okay, out of how many? 1,004. Everybody say, "Cham already lah, market going to crash already, nobody buy property lah." But like that is good. If everything sold out, you nothing to buy. Okay, but will you expect this thing to repeat itself? That is why we are here to learn. So when Florence sold about 54 units, right, then a lot of people don't dare to buy, but then those people who went through with us, they accepted that, hey, this is how it goes. They slowly buy into the properties. And you can see when they started off, those who bought is about 1,008 plus. 1,002, 1,003 plus. And the prices increases, you see, in just under a year to what? 1,008 to 1,007. So prices, when the market moves, developer also increase prices one. So right now we must reverse our way. If today the market is not so rosy, can we enter it like this stage one? Can we still go in earlier because now developer is not increasing our prices? We go in first and then we let the market moves. Okay? Buying early, who agrees? Anything you do, if you can buy earlier, is always better. How many of you agree? Type in agree. If today I give you a 10 years ago, you go back in time and buy property, will you also buy earlier? Better, ma? How I wish my parents that time the property all leave for me. Wow, I tell you, I be ton already. Okay, I also want, but of course, different situation. So today, if you have a choice to buy property earlier, will you want to buy earlier or later? You have to answer that, but you must accept the reality of all this. The quicker that you can accept, the faster you can make a decision, I can tell you. But most of the time, it's because we go against ourselves. And you are going against without a basis. Right now, I'm showing you the data. Use the data as a guide for you. And for Florence owners, you can see 300 over 1,000. Did they buy it during the cooling measures? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Okay. Sterling, another example. They all bought during 2018. You see, they are per square foot. 2018. Now, 2023, how much? Went up to 2,001. So can this happen when the market is this condition where you can still grab good opportunity to have a first mover advantage? And the amount of profits they make is crazy. We're talking about 400 over 1,000, 300 over 1,000, 200 over 1,000. See, this is why during that period, right, my clients, Rachel and Edwin, they also have the same concern, like, the market, all these things. They have all this worry during then, you see. And this was back in 2018. They have all these concerns, same thing, but we undergo the entire REI method. We share with them the data, we share with them the foresight, the future of what's going to happen, and why we are on pace for population growth. All this have an impact in terms of your property journey. And then we adopt the entire REI method. We went through multiple rounds of consultations to keep them updated in terms of knowledge, in terms of data, in terms of research. And eventually, they bought a property at 1,300 plus per square foot, and they bought the last unit. Okay? Last unit in Farrer. So if today I ask you to buy the last unit, will you dare to buy? You won't dare to buy. This one is the last unit new launch. Okay? They bought the last unit new launch. So they were fearful. Emma, you asked me to buy last unit. Wow, people already buy cheaper. I say, yes, I agree. But whatever people done ma. You can't go back in time, right? But based on today, right now, when we want to buy, this is the best price. This is the lowest price already. So they went on 2018 against the odds of high price, high interest, high inflation, economy no good, and cooling measures came in. They went ahead to buy this property in 2018. Fast forward 2022, the last we checked, the price PSF already went up 1,781 per square foot. And they already grew more than $500,000 in just 4 years for this property. So how many of you want to be like Rachel and Edmund? Now that you have a chance to go back in time to buy the same situation as what happened in 2018 and 2019, what would you want to do? What would you want to do? Because now everybody who dare to take advantage, and we are the crazy people, I can tell you. Okay, even me and my wife, we also bought property during this kind of period. So we are the crazy one. We went to queue, we got overnight, that kind of stuff. But then, who has the last laugh now? See, so now you have this golden opportunity that everything is the same as 2018 and 2019. The question you must ask yourself is, do you believe in making a decision based on data, or do you believe yourself to make a decision based on your gut feel and what other people say? Because I can tell you, the world has changed. Blossom was just launched yesterday. This is the first new launch that was after the cooling measures, and they still go ahead and launch it. Can you imagine how confident the developers are and how many percent they sold? 75% after the cooling measures. So a lot of people are saying that cooling measures, a lot of people won't buy. You'll be surprised, my friend. The market has changed. The market has shifted after so many rounds of cooling measures. Usually, this will be the same situation as just I showed you, Florence Residences. Only sell 53 units. Over 1,000 plus units on the first day. But this is not the case for Blossom. They sold 75%. Okay, 75%. So then you may say, then is the foreigners still buying me? Cannot be, man. Yeah, I'm not saying foreigners are buying. Who are the primary buyers in Singapore? Still the PR and Singaporeans, right? That's why more than 70% sold. And what? 70% sold at an average of 2,004, my friend. 2,004 in this kind of location. And what? Importantly, 96% are who? Singaporeans and PR. Can you see? It has no impact. And actually, the cooling measures pushes them to even faster go and buy something. Because they are also worried. If anything, our government coming and hammer them again, they will lose out the chance. Like what happened in 2018. They hammer not on ABSD, but they hammer on your loan capability. Until you, another 5% more reduction is a lot of money, my friend. So there's always a lot of fears going on, but I want to give you guys some positive notes here that whatever we see, because today primarily the market is still based on Singaporeans and PR. So don't jump so quickly by thinking this entire cooling measures is going to affect your property and your plans for property. You must know what to do. You must go through advisors like us, consultants, so that we can advise you correctly. And I want to give you some positive notes. And this is the latest data the latest update that I've just done. So we already know currently interest rate coming down. Okay, and it will slow down more because there's just one more round that the Fed is actually increasing, you see. But Singapore-wise, we are already seeing it slowing down already. And next year, interest rates, I can tell you, will fall even quicker. So now I'm not sure whether, are you aware, it is slowing down, all right? So we are monitoring every single day to see what's the pricing and what's the percentage. And let me ask every one of you here. So what happens when interest rate starts coming down? Usually, when the interest rate starts coming down, what will happen to the property market? Share with me your views. What will happen? People will rush to buy property. Why? Because low interest rate, I buy property, very common one. High interest rate, I don't dare to buy, right? So the question is, if everybody rush in by then, let's say next year, interest rate are more comfortable, do you still got products for you to buy or not? Will you have anything good enough for you to buy? That is a problem. All right. So the government also understand this. Maybe I would say that in my own opinion, the government knows that the interest rates are going to taper down by next year. And they are also using cooling measures as a preventive measures so that people don't rush into buying. Does it make sense? Because anyone who buys property, even for the foreigners, PR or Singaporeans, right? When there's a lower interest rate, everybody wants to buy a property. So this is also one preventive measures to come in. And I'm not surprised. Okay, this is my own opinion. I'm not surprised next year when the interest rate really comes down a little bit more, there will be more cooling measures. Okay, so you can take my word for this, because the government will not want to have a rush stampede of buying properties and then push us up the price too much. So likelihood when the interest rates come down, everybody economy much better, they may, okay, I don't know, they may increase and include another cooling measures by then. Does it make sense? Does it make sense from my point of view or not? If it makes sense, type in yes inside the chat. Sorry about this. All right. So this is very logical one. And because why? Because when we see the numbers, right, you can see I make a guess now. Okay, how many interest rate hikes have we seen over the last 20 years? How many times? Can one make a guess or not? Okay, make a guess. How many times interest rate has increased over the last 20 years? Okay, actually they only went through 007, 2013, 2019, and of course now 2023. So can you see from the last 3 rounds, the next question you must ask yourself, they rise, but how fast did they fall? Okay, rise is okay. You also must understand how fast they fall. They actually all fall within 1 year. Okay, went back down within 1 year. So the question is, now that we are already seeing 2023 kick in terms of interest rates, now it's slowing down. How long will it take for it to come down over eventually? 1 year lah, about 1 year lah. You see? So today, if you are buying a property and you want to wait until interest rate comes down, then you buy. You are not the only one, my friend. Okay, you are not the only one. That's why everybody will also rush together with you. Then whether can you buy the good properties or not, you have to compete. And when you compete, the prices goes up. It's always the case. Okay, we have seen this again and again and again. So again, inflation already drops also. Let me give you some good news. Okay, based on our research, inflation already dropping. And all this comes very timely on. Very timely, because when inflation drops, what's happened? The next thing is interest rate drops. And when that happens, ask yourself, what will happen to the property market? Okay, what will happen to the property market? Because prices and inflation comes in tandem. You can see the prices goes up when interest rate is down. Goes up when interest rate is down. Always. So everybody say they want to wait for the interest rate, then they come into the market. By then, you are already buying higher price. So what you want to do is do before the interest rate goes down and the prices goes up. Why would you want to buy when the prices are high? You don't want. You want to take this window of opportunity right now with all these things for you. You buy in first. Yes, you're paying a higher interest rate, but can you refinance in 1 year or not? You can, my friend. But then the property prices already go up. You already secured something that you can afford, you can buy, and then the market just moves up for you lah. Because the next thing, do you agree? Interest rate comes down means property prices goes up. This is very important, my friend. We can never time the lowest point. We can never time the highest point. But you want to be prepared. Now I'm showing you this because I don't want you to lose an opportunity. And this has happened again and again. Because we use real estate statistics to study what to do. We don't base on gut feel. We don't guess ourselves. Maybe I should buy now. Maybe I should sell now. We don't. We use real estate statistics. Okay. I want to show you how we do it ourselves. Whatever I'm sharing with you is because we have done it. So in 2018, we bought a property for investment. Okay, 2018. It was during the period where high price, high interest, everything, cooling measures was there. But because we know, we understand the fundamentals, we study real estate statistics, we understand what is going on. We went on to buy a property that is 700 square foot at a low floor unit. For how much? 1.059 million. How many of you think that this is a very, very low price property in the RCR now? Based on 1,500 per square foot. Because now RCR is already how much? $2,500 per square foot. Okay, so we bought this during then when everybody says, hey, sure or not? Can buy me so high? We buy because of real estate statistics. So we keep this property for 4 years, and recently in 2020, July, we sold at 1.28 million. Was it the highest price during then? No, but we exit because we want to re-enter the market again. All right, right now the prices for this kind of property is about 1.32 to 1.33 million, but it's okay. All right, we move on. So did I make also about 250,000? Did I build a 6-figure capital in my property in just a matter of 3 to 4 years? And this is our own property. So whatever we do, whatever we share with you, is not that we are just teaching it down. It's not that we don't do it. We also adopt the same strategy, the same method to do it. So today, if let's say today I ask you to go back in time to go buy in 2018, how many of you will do it? Will do it? Type in yes. Type in yes. Okay? Because during that time, the market is not so good. But how many of you will dare to buy property in COVID? If you dare to buy property in COVID, not knowing what's going to happen in the future. Okay, same thing. If you don't know what is going to happen in future and you will dare to buy in COVID time, which is 2020, type in 1 inside. I'm typing 2020 inside the chat. Type in 2020 inside the chat. Because I can tell you a lot of people don't dare to do it. Because it's very normal, right? When there's fear, a lot of people are fearful because of COVID. Oh, I don't know how the market is going to recover, etc., etc. But we went on to purchase another property. You can see when the circuit breaker just opened, we already buy while the circuit breaker is on. So this time around, we also bought a second 2-room property at 1.15 million. Are we concerned about the future of COVID? Of course. Nobody will buy things and not worry about what's going to happen later. But because we use real estate statistics to run through our data, our numbers, to determine what we can do. Of course, this property during then, now we still can't sell it because we still have our 3 years SSD still under check. So we can sell this in 2024. But let's see the numbers. So I bought it on the 14th floor. My size is 721 square foot. Can you see in 2022, somebody who owns a smaller size unit already sold at 1.4 million, which is the same floor as mine. So today, if I want to use the same amount and I say I just sell at 1.4 million, what is the capital I built? So I'm sharing with you, my friends. It's not that I'm very clever. I'm not here to hao lian. It's just to show you that today, regardless of whether the market is up or down, you can still grow your capital through your property safely by adopting the right strategies. It's not about market up, then I buy property. That one everybody know, man. But what if you are able to buy property and still grow your property even in a not so good market? Can you still make the profit or not? This is where we are. So even COVID, we have already showcased that even in a down market, it's not about the market. It's about the type of properties you buy. Your entry price, your exit strategy is all about that. So the question is, will price drop? Will price drop today? So that's why we need to understand the supply and demand in Singapore. Regardless of all the cooling measures, I can tell you, it all comes down to supply and demand. So of course, ABSD is to preempt investors. This one we all know already, okay? And I can share with you the one thing. Investors, so there are a few groups, right? Investors with multiple properties, I can tell you they will not sell, number one, okay? The last cooling measures, that means in 2022, December, the last cooling measures already created not enough supply. That's why the prices keep going up. Why? Because today, if let's say you're investors, you own multiple properties, right? If you sell, can you buy back or not? I sell my 3 property, then I can only buy 1, I won't sell. So I also met out a few homeowners who own like 5 to 6 properties recently. You ask them to sell all their properties away and then just buy 1 or 2. They tell you, sell, what for I do it? I just keep my properties, right? Because why? The replacement cost is very high right now. Even though you are buying back 1 property, the cost is also higher. So how many of you are concerned that today, if you sell off your HDB or then you want to move to a private property, you are worried, wow, I sell my HDB high, but I buy my private also high. Have or not? Sell high, buy high lah. Have or not? Also worry ma. Then you're concerned what to buy next because also high price ma. You see? That's why you rather don't do anything, which is very common. This is what we see in the 90% of the homeowners in Singapore. They rather not to do anything. And then those was downsizing. Another issue coming with the supply and demand. Those who are downsizing, last time you can just downsize very quickly. But right now cannot. You need to rent a place for 15 months before you can downsize. Then lucky you don't do anything already. Correct. I keep and stay. What for I go through all the problems? I sell high, then I need to buy something higher. Then I need to rent some more, so troublesome. Don't do lah. Sure one. Because all these situations affects the supply. Okay, always remember, everything in Singapore is about supply and demand. And we can see it very clearly when the supply comes down. Okay, like the replacement cost is very high, you see. I sell at a high price and I still have to add in my 15 months of rental. Wow, different. So the supply drops. The supply drops. Definitely drops. So when supply drops, what will happen to price? Ask ourselves, when supply drops, what happened to prices? That's why you are seeing record prices for this year, end of last year, because there's not enough supply. It's not because of COVID. It's not because of the economy. It's not because foreigners buy. It's not because we are all very rich. It's not. It's just simply there are people buying. There's not enough for people to buy. That's it. That's why the resales are at its peak price. And what has this to do with you? By understanding this, it allows you to understand that the supply and the demand and where the prices are. It's very easy, it's very straightforward. So today we are not at the 2019 level of 36,000 balance stock. We are only 16,000 now. 16,000, my friend, is very low due to our COVID period where we cannot have supply, you see. Because during that period, cannot build property, no land for sale, construction, all sorts. That's why there's a delay in terms of supply. And that's why the supply now is slowly creeping up. But how long will it take to reach this kind of level of 36,000? It will take at least 5, 8 years, 9 years, perhaps even 10 years for the supply to be more stable. And by then, the prices would already have gone up. How many of you agree? Now everything is low. Resale supply is low. New launch supply is low. So then what is going to happen to price? Ask yourself. Because the demand now is still very high. From the launch of Blossom, you can see people are still buying. 75% of Singaporeans, 90% of Singaporeans and PR are still buying Blossoms. That's why the demand is very, very high, but there's not enough supply to buy. So they have to go for all the new launches because resale, nobody is selling. Does it make sense? Are you guys learning? If you guys are learning, type in learn. Type in learn inside the chat. Okay. So then the problem is, if we want to have supply, there's only two ways. Sell government land and increase en blocs. But the question is, en blocs are not moving. Very quiet. Because the developer will also be scared now with cooling measures. Remember, developers are just like buyers like you and me. They are also worried about interest rate. They are also worried about economy. They're also worried about all these things happening. And they have to be more careful because they have more inventory than us. So they'll be very cautious whether should they buy and bid and en bloc or something. So if they don't do any of all this, do you think there'll be supply coming in? Will you think there will be enough supply coming in future? Because typically, when the supply is low, prices goes up. Supply is low, prices goes up. And this is the en bloc cycle because there's not enough supply, right? So that's why the prices goes up. And these are the typical foundations that you must know. And even for the new prices, right? I show you the new sale prices. You see, when supply is low, what happened to prices goes up? Supply is low, prices goes up. It's the same format. And we are expecting the supply to slow down even because now with these cooling measures, lesser people want to sell. Developers more worried to bid land. So whatever existing stocks that you have, now is a good time to what? Sell because when there's not enough people to sell, you are the one selling. That means you can call better pricing, right? So even for resale, also same thing. The volume very low, prices goes up. Volume very low, prices goes up. So historical is the same pattern, my friend. That's why we don't want to second guess, you see. And anyone who use statistics to make decisions, right? Why? Because it's a logical decision. You see, very, very straightforward one. And if we look at the benchmark prices for all the new launches moving forward, okay, you can see that in future, it will cross 3,000 for CCR, 2,006 for RCR, 2,001 for OCR. So don't undermine the power of data research and real estate statistics. The research is very important. So today, if I ask you to go and buy back, if I can buy back prices here, will you want? If I can buy back prices here, will you want A and B? Which one you all want, A or B? See, that's why the research is very, very important to allow us to understand what we can do for our property, you see. And let me share with you for those whole HDB homeowners, right? If let's say you are here with me, right? I want to share with you that today, your property prices already peaked. Higher, much higher. You're on all-time high, okay? And today, what you want to do is to ride the wave of the next interest rate coming down. You want to quickly sort this asset out and let the market move by itself. You really want to do it. And I really want you to think about swapping your property. Okay, later I'll share with you more examples, right? Because otherwise, right, if today you're keeping this property at this price, you can continue keeping it, okay? And you say that maybe 5 years later you want to do it. In 5 years later, when the interest rate comes down for private property, the economy becomes better, prices goes up, will you think you have a chance to still think about upgrading when now is a window opportunity for you? So this is a reality check. All right, because I've worked with so many families I know, many actually have the ability and the opportunity right now, but because of the fear, the lack of understanding about the market, so they did not make a logical decision using real estate data, using real estate statistics. And then they lost the opportunity. And forever, they never do anything because cannot do it. So with HDB, right, you must understand for HDB homeowners, this one especially for HDB homeowners, you must understand government's plan is to keep HDB affordable. And they're going to ramp up 150 concurrent BTOs. That means they're going to inject a huge supply into the HDB market. Is to do what? One thing, stabilize the prices, push the prices come down. So today you have the opportunity that you are able to sell your property prices high and you can move on to a private property to catch the wave of the low interest rate and the prices increasing. Question is, will you want to swap this asset out and let the market move by itself? Very important. Because with a huge supply of HDB coming in, the prices will just come down. It's back to supply and demand. Does it make sense? Are you guys learning? Yeah. Because right now, COVID is already over. Construction, everything, now the timing, everything goes back in line. See, the question is, why are we not doing anything? Or should we be swapping this asset to one that's increasing? So the one thing that I always teach in my class, right, is you want to build your net worth. Build your net worth. Very important. And using property, ask yourself, for over 20 years, okay, a HDB over 20 years, it climbed from 200 plus thousand to 500 over thousand. Whereas for a private property, 600,000, it went up to 1.87 million. And a landed property, 500,000 can become a 2.2 million. Today, would you rather have a HDB, a condo, or even a landed? So one of the strategies I advise my clients and the families, right, is you want to swap your property from a HDB to a private. That is the first step. And in time to come, you want to have the ability to swap to a landed, because that's where your net worth will continue to grow. So the question is, how do you build a net worth safely? How many of you want to know how to build this net worth very, very safely? And I want to share with you how you can do this, even if you have no knowledge in property. But you must see that there is this opportunity that you can go for. Okay? All right. Let me share with you this. So today, right, many of us, we start our property journey with a HDB. Let's say today, this is your starting point. So today you purchase a property at $600,000, we even calculated everything for you, your down payment, your cash and everything, right? And I even minus out everything of your mortgage and everything. And let's say this property over the next 5 years grow to 850,000. So technically you will have a sales proceed of 442,000, right? So what you need to do is you want to take this amount and then you put it into the next property basing on your loan and everything to upgrade to a private property. Because with 442,000, right, with your cash proceed and your down payment and everything, now you can afford a $1.4 million property. And same thing, we wait for another 5 to 8 years down the road, and this property potentially will be worth 1.8 million. After you deduct everything, you have accumulated 850,000 worth of cash and CPF. This is what we call building your net worth, building your capital step by step. We are not asking you to rush. It takes time for the market to move, for your funds to come in, all this stage. But you want to start from somewhere, especially if today you realize that your property hasn't been growing very well, or you've been waiting for the last 10 years for your property to be where it is right now. You may want to make a logical decision to decide, okay, what can you do with all the money inside this property. Okay, all the equity inside this property. And eventually you use this 850,000, you are able to buy a property at 3 million already because this becomes your down payment. And then with your loan, you are able to upgrade yourself to a landed property. And eventually, am I right to say that at the end of the day, with 1.795 million, you can retire very comfortably. Of course, if we go more in depth in my other classes and my clients one-to-one to really guide them on how to do this safely. Because my friends, today, if you already see your property having a huge capital profits inside your property right now, the question you must ask yourself is, do you want to unlock it? Okay, do you want to unlock it and have 1 million when you retire safely over the next maybe 10 to 15 years down the road? And that's our goal to help our clients achieve the $1 million when they retire, so that they have a fully paid house. They can have $1 million to really go and travel, go cruise, go eat, go over the world to enjoy life. That's retirement, my friend. Because money, if your property has already accumulated a lot of capital, a lot of proceeds inside, and you are not utilizing it, the money inside is just numbers. You cannot do anything. Cannot do anything with it. 好看不好用. Does it make sense? That means you can see it, but you cannot use it. So that's why I also have a lot of clients, right? They own landed property. Right? I also saw a lot of clients, they own landed property. Wow, their house very big one at 3 million, 4 million. But then they are still working. Right? Yeah, I always ask them, hey, uncle, auntie, why are you all still working? You all own such a big house. Why you all don't just sell it? Cannot lah, I stay here. There's a lot of all this fear and objection, which is okay. So for this group of people, I always share with them that I say, hey, today you are very asset rich. That means your property is worth a lot of money, but you don't have enough for your retirement. That's why you are still working for your normal daily expenses and lifestyle. That's why I always believe in today, if you want to swap your property, you want to build capital in it, and then you swap your property to build a higher net worth. If not, the money is there. It's just numbers. It's just numbers, my friend. It's there, can see, cannot touch. Paper value, like we call it. Because everyone, my friend, we don't have many 10 years really. Agree? We don't have many 10 years. And what is the end outcome for every single one of us at the end of the day? And I want to share with you, this is just an example I use for HDB. If you hold on for 20 years, does it make sense or not? Let's say you start off with 45 years old. You bought this property at $234,000. At the end of the day, do you agree at the age of 65, you have fully paid this property? All right, 20 years, you have fully paid. And then you have 588,000. That means you hold this property for next 20 years. That is your retirement. So you own a 588,000 property. The question you must ask yourself is, do you have enough for retirement funds? So if you don't have, what is the only way that you can do it? You can unlock this, you can sell this, and then you go and buy a fully paid property, a smaller property this time around. Maybe I don't know whether 300,000 by then will have or not, but let's say 300,000 fully paid, because you still need a roof over your head. Then the question is, you have 288,000 for retirement. Ask yourself, enough or not? Is it enough? 288,000 when you retire at 65 years old, because the amount of property value you have is just like that. That's the max cap. But if you are able to swap your HDBs to a private, eventually from a private to a landed property, you are building your capital, you're building your net worth. At the end of the day, if you are selling your private property for $2 million, and then you downsize to a HDB at 500,000, you still have 1.5 million, my friend, for your retirement. That's why this is very, very important. How many of you agree that this is very important? Type in VIP inside. Type in VIP inside the chat. If you, whatever I share with you makes a lot of sense, type in VIP. Type in VIP. Thank you so much. Great, great. Wow, many of you are still here. Great. Thank you. Really, really, because these are a lot of things that a lot of homeowners don't see, they don't understand. That's why they don't make the decision. So my friends, my role and my team's role is to facilitate, to help you see better with data and numbers. Whether you will choose to do it or not, that's still entirely up to you. But we want to have a chance to share with you how in your situation you can do better. Can we help everybody? I can tell you not everybody can be helped, because some of their financial numbers, their situation is different. But those that we can, we will ask you to do it. decision is still up to you. Decision is still up to you. So who here, right, would like help to build a personalized property plan, right? Type in 1 inside the chat. And who here, right, would like help to get all the resources you need in shorter time? That means you no need to go and figure out. All right, you will be able to get all the data, the numbers to guide you in the same correction. How many of you here would love for some help? Type in 1 inside the chat so that when you know all these 3 things, it can help you to make a better informed decision for you and your family. Type in 1 inside the chat. Thank you so much for those. Right, because I want you to be a part of your own success story. Whatever we do is to guide you, to facilitate the process, to let you see things that you may not have seen, and perhaps that route can help you to grow your capital better, to build a net worth better, and to provide a better lifestyle and family for your family. That's why we want to introduce you the REM method to guide you on this, undergo this property journey with us. And you'll be so immersed with the REM method, right, that it's going to help you make better decisions. Okay. And I just want to do this very quickly. So may I have your permission? Just take 5 minutes for me to share with you. For those who are here, right, if let's say you want to work with me and my team on a more personal basis, how can you do it? Can I have a permission, please? Type in yes inside. Just take about 5 minutes of your time to share with you this opportunity that you can actually work with me and my entire team. Thank you so much for those who have typed in yes. All right, I want to share with you the $1 million one-on-one personalized consult. Okay, so I'm going to take about 5 minutes to share with you whether you guys intend to actually work with us on a more deeper basis. Right, this is not a class. This is not a workshop. This is a one-on-one personalized consultation. All right, but I just want to share with you that this does not work. Okay, for people who want to get rich quick scheme, like, oh, I want next year, I want to be a millionaire. Can you help me to build my capital for a millionaire? I also cannot. Or so if you are thinking, keep thinking about, well, last time I can do this, last time I can do that. I'm not here to convince you that property is the best, all right? But I can share with you the strategies that can work. And today, if you are keep thinking, hey, stock is better, crypto is better, I'm not here to argue with you. So only if you find that, hey, property is something that you really want to build it safely, systematically over the years to build your wealth, build your capital, then we can do it for you. And if let's say anything that I share with you, you cannot accept, the new way is to do this, man. A couple of years, I must keep my property and then I sell. You cannot accept, then I also cannot help you, to be honest. Or perhaps you already know a lot about properties. You own multiple properties already. You are very expert. You see, then do yourself. You don't need my help. Okay, my help is to help those who really in need. Really, they're not so sure. They really need some clarification. Then I can help them. Okay. And if let's say today you just want to come in and tell me, hey, Edmund, I just want to know, tell me which product. Tell me which product to buy. I want to know. Okay, my role is not to sell you anything. Okay, my role is to educate you on the right strategies, on the right education before you decide what to buy. So even by the product, we will also do a lot of research for you, and you must understand our perspective of how we see properties, and we must be aligned. And that's why we believe in using data and numbers. And if you cannot, then you are just basing on, I think this one is the best. Let's go and buy this. I can bring you it's easier for me also, but that's not our business model. We really want you guys to have upper hand using data and numbers. And of course, this will work very well. Okay, very, very well for those who really want a very safe strategy. I very kiasi one. I won't anyhow do things because of what happened to my family. My options can never destroy any families out there. That's why I'm very careful, and want you to take less risk, and if let's say today you're busy professionals or whether you're a first timer, perhaps right now you've been thinking about upgrading from HDB to condo for the longest time, but you don't know how to do it. You don't know whether can you do it or not, you see. Or maybe you want to have a dual income. You have a dual income right now, but you do not know how to maximize your opportunity using properties. That's where we will come in to help you to plan ahead your retirement as well as your legacy planning. Okay, so I just want to share with you a quick story about a client of mine who's MK and Jane. They're a family of 4. When they came to us, they're in their late 40s. And they've been staying in their HDB for the last 15 years, and they own a 4-room. So it's always their desires to actually own a private property, but because work is busy, family, and then they kind of just push it away. And what happened was when they came on to ask us for help, we actually went through multiple different sessions of consultations, hours and hours of understanding about what is happening in Singapore, what's happening in the future, and they have a better understanding before they start making decisions. Let's hear from them directly.
So we start exploring what else can we do? And it seems like moving to private will give us the option and freedom to do something about our finances. Yeah. I think since we start our family, like 15 years already.
15 years,
yeah.
Wow. So only 15 years later, now you kind of have a change in terms of your thinking.
Yeah.
To move to a private property.
Yes.
Because before that, we just totally have no idea what's going on. We just happily, saying HDB, enjoy our home.
Yes.
Like almost a lot, every people, but we just enjoy, thinking like, we can pay for it. There's no CPF, there's money, can handle 10 years of installment, so it's fine. Is it enough money to buy, or is it the right move to buy? All kind of questions is all coming up. I asked Jane, like, shall we go and do it? Then she like, really? Got money? Got enough?
A bit concerned.
Yeah. We don't know a lot of things. Plus now the regulation, and also the very important is numbers. Like how we can do it. Like some people say can, some people cannot, but we're afraid, and then private.
No idea as well.
Yeah, private will be. Then we have family now. We have two young kids, and they're not ready to feed themselves. So numbers is important, but we have no idea to where to start. Yeah. That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, so for them, right, we went through the entire REI consultations, we went through many rounds, and at the end of the day, right, what we have done for them is a very, very safe approach. Can you imagine a couple with 2 kids in their late 40s, they've been staying in the HDB for 15 years. They never think that they can actually do this, to upgrade themselves, to swap their assets to a private property. And they never even think that they can actually own 2 properties. So when I propose these ideas, because of their income capability, their situation, we realize that we can optimize what they have to actually own 2 properties. Of course, they also say, Edmund, you sure not? You sure can or not? Later, I don't want to work until I die to pay off this property. You see, of course, we are doing it very safely. So after we explain to them, we run through the financial numbers very clearly and in the in anticipation of these 2 properties, right? How many of you, let's say today you own 2 properties, you're very scared, man? Because you say, money installment very high, all these things going on, right? But of course, at the end of the day, we help them to actually get a 1.16 million for their own stay and a $990,000 for their investment, and they are getting passive income consistently. So because we understand their concern, we understand their fear. That's why I told you we are very kiasi. We always make sure that everything is safe. But by holding to these 2 properties, the major consideration, the major factor is, what if I'm out of job? How do I pay this property? Correct or not, my friends? If today you own 2 properties, this is also one of the biggest fear and concern. And because this is the fear and concern, we want to factor this into our calculations already. And that's the reason what we did was we built in enough reserve funds for 8 years. So what this means is today, even if any one of them don't want to work for the next 8 years, these 2 properties can still be paid for using their balance funds. Does it make sense? Because today, if you exhaust everything out, it's very risky one now. So I won't want that for my clients and my families. So I always want to build in backup, safety net, reserve funds. So for them, they are very okay. Even if they have a job loss for 1 to 2 years, it doesn't matter because the property can be self-sustained for the next 8 years. All right. So how many of you want to be like MK and Jane? Type in yes inside the chat. Yes inside the chat to go through this entire experience. All right. Because I want to share with you how you can do this, and I want you to follow this very, very closely. All right. The first of all is, of course, there's an onboarding process. We'll do we have a detailed questionnaire that we're going to ask you regarding your property situations. Okay, so later on, the team will actually put it inside the chat for you to click on it. So don't worry, don't do anything now. All right, just listen to me because I'm not done yet. And this entire onboarding is really for us to better understand whether can we help you or not. And this entire onboarding is worth at least $2,000. So after the onboarding, there's a series of questions you have to fill in your current property situation, the challenges that you're facing, what help do you need. Then we will be able to understand what is happening. Okay, we will be able to understand what is happening. And from there, the next thing that we'll do is you will go on a strategy call with me personally. Okay, that is where I will understand your property situation better, and most importantly, is there solutions that we can help you with, right? And it's only during this call that I will also clarify some of the things that you have filled up for me to understand better. And this call itself will be at least worth $5,000 because I will also give you solutions. I'll give you suggestions of strategies of what we can or cannot do. Perhaps you already have some thoughts like maybe you want to do this, and then you can run by me and I will see it. Does it make sense to do it or not? Does it? Okay. So it's a very, very powerful strategy and discovery call that we're going to do. And most importantly, to see whether are we a good match that we can help you with. Can I add value with my team to you? And also during this call, there will be a bonus that I will give to you. All right. And this will only happen only on the call. I don't want to tell you all what is it first. So only after the call and we find that we are a good match, we are a good fit, there may be solutions that we can explore and discuss together. Then we will go on to review your personalized plan. Okay, we will create this entire property journey for you. You know, come up with your objective. What is your timeline? How are we intending to hold this property for the next 3, 5, 8 years down the road? So we will go very in-depth to plan your next 5 to 10 year strategy. Very in-depth. And the session like this will cost us at least $3,000 because there's a lot of man hours involved, a lot of research work to be done. Then step 4, this is like example of what you can do, like the affordability wise, you know, we will even calculate your TDSR. Everything that we will do is to help you understand that, okay, today property is not just about selling and buying. It's about your affordability. It's about your scenarios. What can and what cannot be done. So if you can see like Susanna, right, for her first property, right, she also went through the entire consultation, like many of our clients, and to start their property journey in the coming years, even into the future. So we went through several in-depth sessions and we covered a lot from discovering what they both can do in a short term, you see. And most importantly, you can see the mechanics of the market and the future outlook. Today, anyone wants to plan, you have to start looking into the future, not now. Now is no use. You have to start seeing how whatever you are doing now, in the next 5 to 10 years, how can it become, you see? Which is why this is important to give them more confidence and they're more secure with this, see? So after you have gone through this entire review, right, then that's the second step. The next step is to evaluate your assets. Currently, perhaps you own a property. You know, we will look at the performance of the property running data to see, okay, is there something lacking in your property performance? Or maybe your property is doing very well. Then we can see whether can we keep the property and own another one. So there are many different solutions coming out during the evaluation stage, as well as your financial numbers, because your financial numbers will give us a very clear understanding what can or cannot be done. And I'm very transparent during my consults with you because I'm not here to sugarcoat. My role is really to share with you what you can or cannot be done. If it cannot be done, it's too risky, I will tell you upfront. If it's very safe, we know that it's going to be very comfortable for you, I will ask you to go ahead. Okay, so I'll be very transparent in my consultations with you. So just like, and for sessions like this, because we use a lot of different tools and different data points, right, it will at least value at about $9,000. So what you get is you get different plans, you know, suggested plans that we do to help you achieve the type of outcome that you want. And we also have a risk analysis management system that we use to help you to create your monthly cash flow, how much reserve funds that we have to set aside so that you can be very safe, you can sleep at night, and you lower down your risk as much as possible. How many of you find that all these are actually very important for property? Or it's not just about buying and selling. There's a lot more in-depth things that we do for our clients and their families to ensure a safe journey. Okay, so of course, once we've done the research, we've done the numbers, we have all the understanding of your objective, and that's when we will identify the correct property for execution. Okay, that's when we will start using different frameworks to decide, okay, what kind of property should we buy? What kind of price point? Whether it's a safe entry? How can we exit in the next 5 to 10 years down the road? All these things will be planned during the identify stage. And this stage will at least worth $15,000. Why? Because by making a wrong mistake in your property selection will cost you more than 6 figures anytime. How many of you agree? If you agree, type in agree. All right, so this is very crucial. So like for Rachel, you know, she has been reading a lot of property lately, and then there's so much info to digest, you know, and then the more she read, the more confused. So every one of us, we want to learn, we thought that we can do it ourselves. Unfortunately, property, very dynamic, multi-dimensional, all right? So of course, she attended our webinar as well and lead her and the husband on the one-on-one session. So we went through the current situation and went through in details how the current and future property market is going to affect them, because it's a very personalized consultation. It's not a workshop. It's not a generalized thing. It's one-on-one. That's why it takes up a lot of our time and energy also. You see, then we look out for the best solution for them. So eventually they went on to purchase a property that is within their means, that was not what they had originally considered for, but they know that this is a very safe property and they went ahead with it. So other than the entire full consultations, right, once you come on board with us, you also have access to our entire support team. Okay, we're talking about bankers, lawyers, interior firm, handyman, all the things that we have that you can adopt and you can use it, because they're all trustworthy and we have been using them since 2009, and they've been helping our clients to service a lot of different things. And this value at least close to $5,000. All right. And one thing that we always do for our clients, like I say, we are not here to do a quick business. I'm not here to just sell you one time and then move on. No. My business model with my team one is a very long term. We service our clients well, we're professional, we advise you guys on, and every other year, every 3 to 5 years, we will review your property again together. Why do we want to do this? Because today, things change, market change, policies change. So today, if you hold on to your property for the last 10 years and you have not reviewed your property, perhaps there are things that you need to do adjustment on. Perhaps there's a change of family lifestyle, maybe your kids' school. You know, there are many different things that our life and our property should go hand in hand. So this is an extra value that we add on to all our existing clients, is to review your property situation. Perhaps 5 years down the road, hey, you have a sudden increase of income. Can we utilize that to maximize your opportunity? So all these things are done in our review stage. And every session that we run this is valued at least $2,000. Okay. So that's why when we are doing this, right, we always believe that today we are here to assist you, to provide you all the necessary information and data to do a personalized consultation. So your $1 million personalized consultation, right, is that we work together. It's not only you listen to me. We will discuss, we will explore the possibilities, and we go through specific strategies that is personalized to you. Very important. And then after that, we will develop action plans, okay, based on your needs, based on your wants, what can and cannot be done. And we do all this with data, numbers, and research. And the entire total value is at least $70,000. Okay, let me recap what you'll be getting in our personalized consult first. Okay, first of all, of course, you get into our community. We have our training, coaching, our events you'll be able to access, which is valued at least close to $29,000. Then the first thing that you do later on is to go onto this list of questions. You have to provide me information so that I can understand you better, which is your property audit as well as your onboarding, which is valued at least $2,000. And then after that, we will get on a call with me personally. All right, I will understand a little bit of what you have shared with me. I want to do some clarification and provide you some value of what can or cannot be done in this situation. And the call is valued at $5,000. And once we are a good match to move forward, then we will start reviewing your plan, looking at our properties, details, understanding of finances, to build a plan, a personalized property plan, to see how we can execute this before we go on to identify the correct property for you, which is valued at $15,000. Because if a wrong decisions of a property that you have made, it will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, so that's why we are very strict in our assessment. We are very clear in what we do, and we are very professional in providing you all the necessary data and numbers accordingly. Not only that, you also get access to our entire backend teams, like our lawyers, our bankers, and we will review your property every other years to ensure that your property is still safe, your property is still increasing, and most importantly, there are ways for you to actually maximize your opportunity in the property market. So total value, $69,900. All right, so I know you might be telling me, Edmund, you're going to sell me a course. Well, that's not what I do. Okay, I'm not a guru actually. Okay, I'm actually looking for serious homeowners to work with. That's all. And I want to better your current situation with our data and research to help you build your $1 million retirement funds. How many of you want to build $1 million retirement funds? And this is very, very important. Okay, so for those who are still here, right, if you really seriously want to work with us, let me share with you, first of all, we also have limited time, okay, and our capacity. So I don't like to assist families and then I don't have time for you. I don't like that. Okay, so this is what we do. especially for this round, because of these new cooling measures, I know many of you are having doubts of whether you should continue your plans or should you stop your plan. Okay, many. So I'm going to make a very unique proposition, executive decision, right? So generally, my consultations we only allow 7 new families. Okay, only 7 new families every single time on a weekly basis to come in, so that we got time to really work with you on a one-on-one basis. Okay, but for the exception of this time round, I make an executive decision. I'm going to allow 10 of you. Okay, I think I can be able to stretch a little bit. I'm allowing 10 new families to actually come on board so that we can study and understand and discover together what can and cannot be done. Okay, so I don't want to, I mean, I can do more, but I'm going to waste a lot of time, first of all, and I cannot give attention to you, which is not something I want. Okay, I really want to give you guys attention to work with you and your family on a more positive note. So usually we accept about 7 new families based on your submission of your application. But this time around, I make an exception. Let us do 10. Okay, so the first 10 who later on apply, all right, we will go through the data and numbers so that so that we can actually, go on to this consultation improper. Okay, so the link is already inside the chat. Okay, what you can do is you can either scan the QR code or you can click on the link and to put in your information. You can do this later. I'll give you some time to do this, but do help me out by giving me more information. Type in more information into the application form, because that's the only time that I know I can, what are your situations happening? I can have more understanding. Then I will know how I can help you. Okay, so this entire consultation is valued at $69,000. Okay, with this $1 million one-on-one personalized consult. Okay, but of course, let me just recap of what we are doing. We will be giving you the entire community where you get training, coaching, the entire onboarding property audit. Okay, the link is already inside the chat. All right, your strategy call with me personally, and that's the only time where you get access to me and talk to me and ask me about properties. We will review your plan to understand what is happening in your current property situation, your performance. Is it worth to keep or is it worth to sell? We will explore all these possibilities by running your financial numbers. So that is very important. Before we have a 5 to 10 years plan, and then we identify the correct type of properties in the correct locations that you want to hold on to this property. All right. And besides that, you also get access to my entire support team, as well as a review of your plan every 3 to 5 years. So the entire value is $69,000. Okay, and as I mentioned, I am not here to run a course. I'm not here to run a workshop. My role really is to look for serious homeowners who really need help in your property, who has been struggling to find somebody to guide them systematically into the process to grow their wealth in property. All right, so that's why we have made an executive decision to accept 10 families instead of just 7. Okay, and all this is not going to be a single cent to you, because everything will be free and complimentary. Your only job is to click on the link inside the chat, put in your application, and let's see whether we can work together or not. As I mentioned, the first 10 who submitted, this is your only chance to get and see, maybe you to have a full clarity about your property situation, and once and for all to decide what do you want to do in this time or not. Okay, because as I mentioned, there's lots of opportunities right now with these new cooling measures, and this is, I tell you, it's going to be a very fun thing for the next 1 month. A lot of people will be sitting there waiting, don't want to do anything. It's okay. Our existing clients, we will go and hunt for properties, and that's where we will be able to capture the market to actually have this growth in our returns. All right. So again, I say that this is not for everybody. That's why we only limit to 10 new families this time around. 10 new families. So you can either click the link inside the chat, or you can click scan the QR code, where it will bring you to a questionnaire. A questionnaire do help me to fill up all the information there, because it's very, very important for me to understand what is your challenges, what is your problem, all this information. And while we are going through this, you will also get access into our entire risk analysis management system, all right, where we will cover your affordability. We will even calculate very in details whether it's 1% or 2% for your TDSR. We even go into very detailed suggested plans. What if you sell? What will happen? What if you sell and buy? What will happen? If you sell and buy 2 properties, what will happen? So we will come up with different scenarios to discuss with you using our risk analysis management system. And of course, to work out your finances in details, like your money cash flow, as well as your reserve fund. So all this takes a lot of time and effort on our end. That is the reason why we only limit 10 new families this time for this period, so that we can help you address some of your concerns, some of your questions, and see whether we can help you move forward with your plan. But I want to warn every one of you here, if today you're going to do whatever I share with you in understanding property and you're going to do it yourself, a high chance you're going to lose money. Okay, I'll be very, very upfront. I'll be very transparent. You see, it's okay if you want to do it yourself, you rather do it well, right? You rather do it correct. But if you do it yourself and you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in just one wrong decisions, how would it help you and your family move forward? So ask yourself whether do you actually have the time to do the in-depth research and the data collection like we do, or you prefer to just go and learn online and try to learn on YouTube and do it yourself. Which one is more risky? Ask yourself, because you might pick the wrong property. You might be buying a property, but you didn't know that actually you're buying overpriced of the most expensive property in the area, and you just lose money over the time and not make a right decision, right? Like May herself, she has some property knowledge. She reads a lot. She's very knowledgeable, but at the same time, she still reach out to us because she wants somebody who's in the market, who has access to all these resources, data, numbers, to guide her safely for her first time property purchase. All right. So she says that basically we break it down systematically and explain in a manner that is relatable and easy to grasp. So this actually boosts her confidence and knowledge of the property market before she buys. So it's basically, you see, we educate a lot, A to Z of building wealth through property investment. So this is what we do, and to anyone who's out there, whether you're HDB homeowners, whether you're a private homeowner, now you have two choices. All right, you have two choices. After today, you wake up or later on, you say, hey, I attended something great. I learned something from Edmund, very good. And then you don't do anything. Life still goes on. Market goes up and down, has nothing to do with you. Cooling measures come in, how much impactful also doesn't do with you. Couple of years later, when people grow, their property profits also have nothing to do with you because you chose not to do anything now. Or you could just take action. Click on the link, fill out the information and see where does this go. Especially this is all free. This is all complimentary. And let's see what this does for you and your family. Perhaps this is the only chance, the only one chance in your whole life that you wanted somebody to guide you in property, and now you have the opportunity in front of you. Are you going to do it? So let me do a recap of what you're going to get in our personalized consultation. The entire community will be supporting you with trainings and coachings. And of course, we will do a full board onboarding once you click on the link, fill out the questions, and I'll be able to understand what is happening in your property situation. All right. And then we will get on the call with me personally. That's where I will understand and clarify certain stuff with you. And then we go through the entire consultations where we review your plans, we evaluate your assets and financials, and we identify the right property in many, many hours and many different sessions. Okay, my role is to educate you with knowledge and understanding so you can make a better decision for you and your entire family. And all this value is close to $70,000. And right now, for the first 10, right, you get it for free to come on board with us to see where we can go and discover in terms of your property journey. So that you can just be like Edwin and Rachel. They bought their property back in 2018 where the market is not the best. Prices is high, interest rate is high, inflation is high, market no good, and with cooling measures. But yet, they understand everything. They went on to buy even the last property of the development. They bought the last one. Yet they are confident with us because we have shown data, we have shown the research on how they can benefit from this. And in just 4 years, they have accumulated $500,000 in terms of their property purchase. So this is your last chance to actually scan the QR code. The link is already inside the chat group. All right, you can actually click on it, fill out the information, and then later on, I will take some time to answer some Q&A as well. All right, so you can scan the QR code or you can click on the link below so that we can get you on board with us real soon. All right, so before that, for those who are still here, as I promised you, I'll give you the entire research that we have done, and we picked out actually 10 profitable properties in Singapore that you may be able to actually have an understanding on, and it can help you get more knowledge about properties. So you want to scan this, type in bonus so that I know that you're actually asking for the bonus, and I will send it to you via later on at the end of the day. All right, so you can scan the QR code. So once you have scanned the QR code, can you just type in done inside? Type in done inside so that I know before I move on. Thank you. All right, great. All right, so I'm going to take some time for Q&A. Okay, I'm going to take some time for Q&A. And the key thing is that if you have any questions regarding the market, you have any questions regarding the new cooling measures, or if you have questions regarding how this consultation is going to help you, now is the best time for you to actually, put your questions inside the Q&A, and I will be able to actually guide you and do this properly. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, use the Q&A button at the bottom, and I will be able to guide you more on this.